Germany's F126 program. Those who are following the progress of this project will know that it's seen its fair share of challenges. In fact, the project is in such bad shape that the Bundeswehr has taken the extraordinary step of signing a preliminary agreement with a different shipbuilder for a different ship design to make sure the country's navy has warships in a timely manner. So let's take a look at the background of the F126 program and its current status for today's video. The project's history actually goes quite far back to 2009 when Germany initiated studies for a class of future surface ships. But let's not get too deep into the historical details and begin the story in 2015, when the government put out a tender for at least 4 multi-purpose combat frigates for the German Navy. The project tender had the name Mehrzweck-Kampfschiff 180, with Mehrzweck-Kampfschiff meaning multi-purpose combat ship. Its short-form name was MKS 180. And so in 2015, this tender was open for bids from European companies, with Minister of Defense at the time, Ursula von der Leyen, deciding not to prevent foreign bidders from participating under national security reasons. Several companies put forward bids, including the UK's BAE Systems and German naval yards, Dutch firm Damen Group and German shipbuilding and engineering company Blohm & Voss, and finally Germany's ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems and Lürssen. As we occasionally see with competitive bidding processes, bidding teams sometimes drop out or move around, and this was the case with the MKS 180. In mid-2017, BAE Systems, which had offered a ship based on the Type 26 frigate, withdrew from the competition. In March 2018, the German government excluded the ThyssenKrupp Lürssen consortium. While not many official details were disclosed, the move was widely perceived as a response to the company's disappointing performance on the earlier F125 Baden-Württemberg frigate project, which had experienced delays and structural issues. ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems would go on to partner as a subcontractor to German naval yards, while Lürssen effectively became a partner to Damen, as Lürssen had actually acquired Blohm & Voss in 2016. And then in January 2020, the Damen Blohm & Voss bid would be selected. The frigate design was to be capable of worldwide comprehensive 3-dimensional naval warfare with the ability to engage targets underwater, on the water, and in the air. At the same time, it was stated that the use of so-called mission modules was a novelty for the German Navy. It was highlighted that the choice of a non-German prime contractor led to early criticism, with both industry and government officials concerned about the outsourcing of work. Despite a Dutch company being the leading company, the ships were to be constructed at the Blohm & Voss shipyard in Hamburg and at the Pina shipyard in Wolgast, also in Germany. European Defence Review adds that Damen announced its intention to build in this way in order to spend around 80% of the total net investment as added value in Germany. The same would apply to the electronic application system supplied by Thales Nederland to its own design. Around 70% of the services were to be provided by the German subsidiary of Thales and by other German subcontractors. Just days after it was announced that the Damen bid had been selected, German naval yards formally disputed the government's decision, with a company spokesperson saying, "After a thorough examination, we have decided to file a complaint against the award decision. We have serious doubts about the legality of the decision and will therefore exhaust all legal possibilities at our disposal." While the company would eventually withdraw its protest a few months later because it had struck a deal to merge with Lürssen, it would temporarily delay the progression of the project. But with the dispute out of the way, it would be in June 2020 that a €5.5 billion contract was awarded to the Damen shipyards team for 4 ships, and this would later be expanded to 6, with the exercising of an option for 2 further vessels a few years later. We should also note that it was in December 2020 that the German Ministry of Defense announced that the MKS 180 frigate program would be renamed Fregatteklasse 126, or F126, a designation in line with the German Navy's typical designation for frigates. The first ship was planned to be commissioned by 2027, and the deal was to include training facilities as well as 2 ASW and 2 detention modules. Weapons were to be contracted separately. Initial operating capability for the ships to be based in Wilhelmshaven was expected in 2028. Very quickly here, let's list some of the ship's details before continuing with the story of development and construction. Each frigate is to have a length of 166 meters, a beam of 21.7 meters, a displacement of 10,550 tons, a 5.9-meter draft, and be crewed by 198 personnel. Maximum speed is to be 26 knots, and range will be over 4,000 nautical miles. The ships will be capable of handling ice up to Class 1C. For armament, each ship will have 16 Mark 41 cells for up to 64 ESSM Block 2B medium-range air defense missiles. There will also be 2 RIM 116 RAM CIWS launchers for up to 21 short-range air defense missiles each. And finally, there will be 2 Kongsberg Naval Strike Missile launchers for up to 8 NSM Block 1A cruise missiles each. For guns, Leonardo's Otto 127-64 lightweight Volcano naval defense systems have been selected. The ships will also be fitted with 2 Rheinmetall MLG-27 4.0 gun systems. 12.7mm Leonardo heavy machine guns will also be installed on the frigates. After a few years in the development phase, it was on December 5, 2023 that construction started on the first F126 frigate. Main contractor Damen Naval and project partner NVL Group invited more than 200 guests to attend the official steel cutting ceremony at the Peene shipyard in Wolgast, Germany. One would hope for smooth sailing with construction underway, but this would not be the case. Defense and Security Monitor says that by 2024, the Damen-led F126 hit difficult waters. The website specifies that IT interfaces used in the design and manufacturing system reportedly had significant technical problems, slowing the process down considerably. Furthermore, Damen had run into problems transferring vital construction plans and information to German partners, a problem that was only declared resolved somewhat recently, in January 2026. In a statement released at the time, NVL announced that it is working intensively to take over the F126 project as general contractor within a few weeks. The shipbuilder added that it had successfully transferred the design data from Damen into their own system. NVL added, "This has closed the interface between design and manufacturing, and together with Damen, paved the way for an accelerated ramp-up of production in the shipyard halls." It said that the resulting backlogs effectively delayed the project at least 3 years, with some German lawmakers complaining that the Navy has been left unable to offer a firm operational date for the first ship. Defense and Security Monitor adds the tensions between client and manufacturer escalated to a point where the German Ministry of Defense refused to issue interim payments to Damen, which were planned to be tied to construction milestones that were not achieved. Also, for some time, there had been a proposal to acquire other ships as an interim procurement. And so the latest news came in February 2026, with Berlin opting for a dual procurement of the F126 under new leadership and the acquisition of a new interim class. On February 4, 2026, TKMS signed a preliminary agreement to provide MEKO A200 frigates to Germany. The agreement is to see the delivery of the first ship by the end of 2029 and to initiate key preparatory measures. As noted by the website Naval Today, the signing of the preliminary agreement marks the official start of the MEKO A200 DEU project, although no official construction contract is yet associated with this. This video is mainly about the F126, so we don't want to make it even longer by going deep into detail about the A200. However, we'll tell you that these ships are 121 meters in length and have a displacement of almost 4,000 metric tons. Max speed is listed as being over 29 knots, while range, when sailing at 16 knots, can be over 6,500 nautical miles. Anyway, we hope it's clear that the F126 project, as well as project alternatives and workarounds, are in a state of flux at the time we're making this video, and so the situation could change at any time. TKMS should be feeling quite smug about having Germany come back to order ships after the ThyssenKrupp-Lürssen bid was excluded. Ultimately, the saga continues, and it remains to be seen if the German Navy will get their first F126 frigate by early or mid-2030. Quoting Defense and Security Monitor, blame for the issues had been laid, fairly or unfairly, at the feet of Damen shipyards. Would you agree? If you've been following the news of this project, would you say that Damen is solely to blame for delays? Let us know by leaving a comment.